transfer window?
I made evaluation after 2 months. After 2 months of work with my players, and for sure now the situation is more clear than before. I'm waiting to have a meeting with the club, and then also to give my opinion about the squad. After only 2 weeks, I say that we need to improve the quality of the squad, and for sure we need to improve the quality of the squad. And in this moment, the gap is very large, and we need to work a lot, and also to try to build and to improve also the quality of the squad.
If you want to look at the comparison of Tottenham squad with teams who are established in the top four and looking to challenge for the title, you don't need to look too much further than their EFL Cup semi-final against Chelsea last night, where the gulf was clear.
Yeah, but we are talking about Chelsea. They got a lot of top quality players, very well coached. Tottenham will hopefully want to be in that same position. I don't think that they're anywhere near it now, as we saw. But again, you look at Spurs. Obviously, they still have to find a backup for Harry Kane, who wants to do that job. When you're a striker who wants to play and score, you're looking at midfield from a midfield point of view. I'm not sure with Emerson Royal. I think they were linked with a right wing back because Conte wants that right wing back. He wants that player to get up the side there. I'm not sure what's happening with Doherty. So there's a lot that has to be done at Spurs that we've seen. You look at them from their front men. I don't think you can compare them to too many other teams in respect of quality. They've got a lot of quality, but from there backwards, there's still a lot of work at Spurs to be done, and he's seen that now.
It's really interesting with Tottenham, because we've seen them in this position before in the latter stages under Pochettino, where there was the opportunity to invest in the future and it wasn't necessarily taken. Does the fact that they've gone for Conte, they've seen that he's available, that they've made that decision to bring him in, does that show that maybe there's a different mindset at Spurs in terms of the willingness to invest?
I'll be brutally honest, I don't think it's a maybe. I think it's definitely. Because I think we all know Conte, if he's not going to get the money that he wants, I'm off. Yeah. And it's as simple as that. So I think what Tottenham have promised him, they've obviously promised him money to bring players in. I think he touched on it there. He evaluated his squad after 2 months and he's made decisions. He's already got in his mind who he wants to move on and who he's prepared to bring in, and whatever he was guaranteed when he first went to Tottenham, he'll do just that, as well as generating money from his sales. I think we all know Conte's a fantastic manager. He will get Tottenham there, but it just depends how long. And watching that game yesterday is a few years. I've got to be very honest, there's a few years. Regardless of the two OGs, golfing class between both teams was unbelievable yesterday.
I think it's probably reassuring though, if you're a Spurs fan, and I do follow a lot on Twitter and looking at their reactions after the post comments. Yeah.
Take it easy.
I think actually the ones that I know and follow, I think they were actually appreciated, those comments, because I think a lot of them aren't looking for a quick fix. They know that it's going to take time. And
will he stay around though, Flo?
I think he will, because they waited so long to get him. I mean, obviously it's up to him if he wants to move on, but they've waited so long to get Conte. And I think they're willing to be patient and know that it's a long-term project that could bring a lot of long-term success. And I think they trust him. And I think in the past, when they would have looked at coaches who would have easily gone after that game and said, oh, a classic Mourinho thing is saying, oh, well, there's nothing I can do, my hands are tied, I haven't got good enough players, whatever it may be. But Conte's a realist, and he said, we need time and we need investment, but he's not demanding players now. He's being realistic that he might get 1 or 2 this window, with a right back being a huge focus. But he's not being overly demanding and saying, this squad is terrible and I need so many replacements and reinforcements.
At the moment.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think we know him, the way he left Chelsea, the way he left Inter, he's a spiky dude. And if he doesn't get his way, everything's coming out of the pram.
I think you look at how close they are, Tottenham, and how far they looked when they were under Nuno. and see how quickly he's sorted out the defence. You know, he's got Tottenham playing at a quicker pace, getting the ball through to the front men. Now the front men are ready to go. They're getting the service. I think if Daniel Levy doesn't recognise now that he's got a manager that he has to back, whether it's January or the summer, if he doesn't, then, you know, I don't know what to say.
I think this window as well massively for Conte and Levy is just about moving players on, because Conte and Nuno both have had to work with players that they never wanted, that were Mourinho recruitments, and now this window is really about shifting those players on. Dele Alli need to find a future somewhere. Joe Rodon, who's brought in, Matt Doherty, Bergwijn. These players that you know this manager never wanted don't really suit his style. They need to find a future, and I think once he gets to really work with the squad that he wants, because he's been playing some of these players to basically see what they can do, and it hasn't worked. And I think he's been fair in that sense. I think he's given everyone a clean slate and actually played some good football with what he's got, which isn't really what he wants. I think now when he looks forward, the summer could be really important for them in terms of recruitment coming in. But I think this window is who can we shift on to make space for things coming up and give other players opportunities when it's been made clear that these guys aren't the right guys right now.
Yeah, and even in terms of the players who come in, once you've created that space, obviously there's room for more players to come in. A right wing back, as you said, looks like it's going to be Conte's priority. But as you mentioned, midfield, if you start with Skip and Højbjerg in midfield, that isn't necessarily what Conte wants going forward either.
Well, no, and this is why you probably look at Patrici, who's at Tottenham with him. They've got a vast knowledge of Italian football. You're probably going to see a couple of maybe Italians going to Spurs. And they do need to get that midfield player, who I thought was going to be at some. I thought Ndombele was going to be the one. I thought Lo Celso. I thought that when you look at the way they play, I think that creative players, they can progress. Yeah, but that's the thing, Andrew. I thought that they would have been, especially in Ndombele. I thought that he would have come. He would have got it. Once a new manager's come in, because when you watch him play in certain instances, he's got a lot of ability. Same with Lo Celso, very good left foot, very creative, can see the pass, but they just don't do it. So that's, for me, I think Højbjerg plays in my team. I watched Skip the other day, and I like what he's doing, but still you need...
I think there's a robustness, to them. That is important for the way Conte wants to play.
They need a craft now.
Exactly. It's great to have that robustness, but you can't just have that. And that's why the wing-backs are so important, because you need explosive attacking play from them. And I think the centre midfield looks great now, and they're getting a lot of the ball, you know, the most they've had the ball since Pochettino left. But it's now what you're going to do with the ball. Yeah, but then how are you going to create?
Watching them the other day, I say the game against Watford, and when you see what he wants to do with the wing backs, Reguilon not too bad, but some of the final ball was poor. Emerson Royal, for me, it's almost as if Watford said, let him have it. His delivery was so poor. It just negated Tottenham.
And what was that, 30 million?
30 million. And you think to yourself, now, they've paid 30 million already. It doesn't look to me like Matt Doherty's somebody that they're keen on. So now, they're probably going to need to get that right wing back, because everything does come from the wing backs. And if people stop that, nothing happens from Tottenham.
And Watford did that, you know, moved to a back five, cut off that option. And then you've got a fantastic midfield that's getting a lot of the ball, but you're not doing anything with it whatsoever.
Yeah, because they're limited. You know, they pass it to each another.
Yeah, and then that's not going to create. Those Spurs aren't going to go anything going forward. Like you said, it's all well and good having a really solid team, but if